What's up, Wilmington? The 910 podcast is about to bring to you your weekly dose of tips, tricks, and hacks, and news and events affecting Wilmington and all of southeastern North Carolina. So take your seats and buckle up because it's going to be a wild ride. And here are your hosts, the Hot Mess Express, Shanny May and Frankie!
What's up, Wilmington? It's the Hot Mess Express. I'm Shanny May.
And I'm Frankie.
Hope y'all had a great week. We're almost to the end. What did you do fun this week?
Oh, fun? Wow.
Or what did you do?
So, it was a busy week for me. Yeah, real estate was busy. And I actually did a couple interviews with different businesses. I guess that we'll talk about that a little later. In terms of special events, I did go over to the Wrightsville Beach Brewery thing that they had going on, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to support them. I know Judd, the owner, and he is such a great guy. What about you?
Unfortunately, I did just exactly what we told our listeners not to do, and I spent my weekend cleaning storm stuff around the house.
Yeah,
However, I spent family time because I made them work too.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I saw you with the rug doctor out there.
Yeah. Carpet shampooing is quite the workout, apparently. Quite the workout, or I'm just really out of shape. Because by that evening, I just couldn't even hardly do it anymore. I did it Saturday and Sunday. Pressure washed. We did all kinds of stuff that normally would be like a beginning of the season kind of half a year cleanup thing. It had been put off too long, so it took too long.
Yeah,
Nothing
you were so tired and out of it you couldn't even.
Yeah, no, I couldn't even. Did actually make a few rounds to a couple of the area fundraisers. Right there near me, there were collecting goods for the storm damage for people who were displaced for their homes. So I did go by a few of those and drop some things off, but it was just a couple of the churches I knew that were taking stuff out to the people who were still like flooded in or across the portions that the road had washed away and they couldn't get out. So they were getting it over to them. So.
Well, it's nice to see that our area is making some progress with, the cleanup. And I was up in the Ogden area last weekend, and I was just amazed. And also I was up in Porter's Neck. I was amazed at the piles of debris that are just still, lying around. And I'm not saying that, it's anybody's fault that's laying there, but when you look at it, you just realize that how much that this Category 1 hurricane really did the damage. And we're not going to harp on Florence. She put us behind for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we've all talked about it and moaned and groaned enough, but I'm happy to still go out and support all the fundraisers that are going on, and happy to see that, our community's pitching in and helping out.
Definitely pulled together instead of the opposite. So it was promising. Give you a little restored faith in humanity.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm really amazed at how. One big thing that we didn't talk about right before Florence, we had done our best episode ever, which was our top 5 restaurants, and we really didn't get a chance to celebrate that because Florence hit the next week. So, and we have still yet to give out our plaques for the top 5 restaurants. So if you have not had a chance to listen to our top 5 restaurants, go back and do that, because we are some folks that are local, and I like to eat, Shanny May likes to eat, and we can tell you some things about the restaurants. And we're going to do some more top 5s. Our intentions actually were to do it the first podcast of every month, but Florence threw a monkey wrench in that plan. And we thought that we would try and celebrate the top 5s that we've already done before we move on to the next one.
So we'll be getting to eat in both of those places.
Yes, absolutely. So when we hand out these certificates, then we'll move on. When we hand out these plaques, we'll move on to the next top 5. And, we want your feedback on all those. And our top 5 companies restaurants that we talk about, we want you to go out and support those people because they are really good folks that we have enjoyed their food and their service. And, especially now after Florence where there's been shutdowns and delays and, people lost all their food inventory and have to start over, go out and support all those people.
And they're all local, so they need it. Help keep them open.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do know that it is your favorite month.
Yes, I love Halloween. It's the only time of the year I can legally be somebody else.
So who are you going to be?
I don't know. I might be a couple somebodies. I usually try to dress up. Like, you'll go to different events that you can dress up for, and then Halloween is on a Wednesday. So I imagine it'll be the weekend before that most places have their costume stuff. So usually you can go Friday and Saturday night. So you gotta have a different costume each night. You can't wear the same costume both nights.
That's why I have year-round stuff.
I know, right?
I mean, you never know which pair of spandex I'm going to wear.
That's right.
And actually, that's what I'm doing right now is I am typing, go to the Halloween store, because I know what I'm going to be. Now, look, I'm not a big fan of, it's not that I'm not a big fan of Halloween. It's not that I'm not a big fan of Halloween. I just don't like going out and having people's faces covered up. It freaks me out just a little bit. I mean, that's kind of why I have the fear of. Do you remember my 3 fears we talked about?
I know there was a problem with painting on eyebrows.
Okay, yep. So my 3 fears are heights, big dogs.
I knew the dog.
Yeah, and then fake ass eyebrows. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if they're nicely done, and you can convince me if I could see from across the room that they might be real, we good. But when I get up on them and it looks like, your 2-year-old got on you with a Sharpie while you was asleep.
No.
Freaks me out big time. So, yes, I'm not a huge fan, but I bought Maxie Paul's a cute costume last year, and we didn't get to wear it because I had went up to visit my family and left it here. So I bought him another one, but this year, and I wanted he and I to dress similar, so I'm going to go look up and try and buy a local,
Yeah.
If not, I'm going to have to get it on the Amazon Prime.
Right. I don't know. I always just go out and look and see what strikes me. I think for work, since it's fallen on a Wednesday, I'm going to be Rosie the Riveter. I did that quite a few years back, and it turned out cool. It was comfortable. It was office appropriate, So I think I might do that for work on the actual day of Halloween. But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, what about those weekends? You going to skank it up or what?
At least one night. It's a requirement. I was actually one year, I was a ringmaster, and it had this little tutu skirt that was made out of like that tulle that you can kind of see through, like the netting.
Uh-huh.
And I may or may not had a really rough night, and Fireball made me fall down a time or two. So when my drivers dropped me off at home, the side of my skirt was all torn from like where it connected to the top of the costume. And my friend who grew up across the street and was like my brother so kindly hollered out the passenger window as they were backing out the driveway, "Excuse me, ma'am, but your ass is hanging out." Yeah, so
Did you not know?
try not to do it quite that bad. And that was not intentional. That was after tuck and rolling in my costume a couple times.
So did you didn't like the costume that I sent you the idea?
You did send me one. What was it? It was something so crazy. Oh, the drunken bride.
The drunken, jilted bride.
She was
left
jilted.
And you said,
I will never wear a wedding dress.
I was about to say it. I was like, maybe I shouldn't say it. But I was like, maybe she doesn't want to say it. But okay. She'll never wear another wedding dress. But I thought, man, that would be perfect. I could see. I mean, if I were a girl, I think that would be absolutely awesome.
That would be funny.
Because you have the mascara running, and you could pretend like you're drunk all night, and then maybe be that way, and no one would know the difference. And you have like an empty champagne bottle that you carry around, and you could just say like off the wall things that someone would say at the end of a frat party or something. That was
definitely be cool to come up with something unique, something like that.
Yeah. Well, this is the first time I've ever coordinated a costume with anyone, and it's Maxie Paws. And I say that, and I had a discussion with someone last week, and I was telling them that Maxie Paws is the only person that gets me. And we were arguing because they're like, he's not a person. I was like, he is to me.
Yeah.
He is to me. So
Yes,
October's here, and I know you've been excited about it. There's a few events that are coming up. So why don't we go ahead and jump into those events that are happening that we're excited about.
Okay. First of all, Saturday at Shuck and Shack in Leland, they are having a few bands, and all day from 11 to 11, 50% of their sales goes to Stony Creek. And they experienced quite a bit of flooding. The whole neighborhood pretty much was flooded out. And I have a very close friend that was living there, and there's lots of devastation there. So if you can get out to Shuck and Shack in Leland, get you something to eat, listen to some music, that would be a good thing to try to do.
I know that you're an LA girl. Where is Shuck and Shack in Leland?
Actually, that came since I left. They didn't have fancy stuff like that.
Oh, you don't know?
I lived there.
All right, so Leland's not that big.
We just had a few stoplights.
So when you cross the bridge to get to Leland, you either make a right or you make a left, and it's right there.
Actually in Brunswick Forest, I think, to my understanding. There was stoplight.
So you go to Brunswick Forest. So you go out that highway, which is, I don't know that. 17. Yep. So you got 17, you make a left there at Brunswick Forest. That's where they had the car show last month. And so that's where Shuck and Shack.
That's where our friends drinking beer at the Lowe's Foods.
Instead of coming here to be a guest on the podcast. Thanks a lot, friend. Fiery Red.
Yeah.
You know who you are, Fiery Red.
You've reached that if you are drinking beer at Lowe's Foods. We love you and we miss you.
And so that's Saturday. Well, the other thing that is there that Saturday is the Cape Fear Parrot Sanctuary is doing a needs drive up in Porter's Neck at 8260 Market Street at the Harris Teeter. And I don't know if they're trying to turn this into a party or what, but they've got the Coastal Carolina Community College Food Pantry going to be there. And they're going to be there, but then they're also are going to have pirates. So you get to see pirates and parrots.
Arg.
Yeah, all together. And it says there's going to be a treasure tent. Pirates will be on the site selling booty and goods.
They probably will have face painting too.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm, they usually do.
If you are a child and you go to a pirate and you say ahoy or ar, you'll receive free pirate booty. And there'll be items that you can donate to the Coastal Carolina Community Food Pantry. They're looking for peanut butter, cereal, dry pasta, spaghetti sauce, canned vegetables, granola bars, and cooking oil. So you can go in Harris Teeter, pick up some things, and help those folks out. And then, see Charlie the Picasso of Parrots. He'll be there selling his artwork and T-shirts.
That's cool. All great things for the donations to go to. Support them all.
And were there any other events that we were talking about?
There was a haunted house, wasn't there?
So, yeah. So one thing in Wilmington, and this is also Saturday, October 6th. So tonight when we get done, we're recording Thursday, October the 4th. And so tomorrow's October 5th. So I'll get this out tonight if I can. And one thing is there's a fundraiser, and it is Rusty Romper's Burlesque Spook Show, and that is October the 6th at 9 p.m. That is at 1612 Castle Street at the Juggling Gypsy, and it's going to benefit Wilmingtonians affected by Hurricane Florence. So you can go out and have some fun, and also you'll be helping some local folks here that are in need, and there's quite a few. And you mentioned your friend over in Stony Creek, and I actually sold a house over there, so we both have a connection to those people in Stony Creek.
Yeah, it was there and Cross Creek up near me, both. The whole neighborhood pretty much was devastated.
And just real quick, neither one of those were in a flood zone.
Yeah, absolutely. So
what's a flood policy cost if you're not in a flood zone?
if you're in a standard zone, you're looking at about $450 a year.
Will you explain that?
Standard zone is if you're a mortgage company and you have a mortgage on your home and they're not requiring you to carry flood insurance, then you're in a standard zone, more than likely.
So basically, everybody is in some type of flood zone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's no such thing as not being in a flood zone. It's whether you're at a standard risk, which they consider very low risk, or if you're at a high risk, a very high risk. So it's no such thing as not being in a flood zone. It's a matter of how high a risk your zone is.
So a lot of times people will say, "Oh, I'm not in a flood zone." Well, actually, you are. You're just in a low risk. So, like, I think if I remember those off the top of my head, it's like B, C, and X. The most common being X flood zone. But then when you get into the ones that begin with A,
like AE, VE, I always joke that if you're in a VE, it's very expensive.
Right.
That's what that VE is.
Right.
But that's usually people right on the front of the beach or in some near the creeks, the low-lying areas that they know flood all the time.
Right, yeah.
So
I see VE a lot up, like on the coast and the waterways, the tributaries. You'll see VE,
right.
But that's pretty rare. But usually it's like an AE. But even if you're in an X, it's only $450 a year, and if you look at areas like Stony Creek where it hadn't flooded, no one knew anything about the flooding. And actually my house. So my house is on just a low lot here on the island. There's a drain in the middle of my yard because it's low, and it connects to, I'm guessing, the storm sewer. But if that drain stops up, my yard floods.
Oh, yeah. That happened to my dad during this storm, and they had to go out and try to clean out the drain so it would stop coming in the front door.
So it's only $450 a year, plus or minus, and it will protect you, if there's a flood. But flood's not covered on your insurance policy. So if you have rising waters from the outside and they come in, that's a flood, and you wouldn't be covered.
It'll be completely excluded.
Yeah. So, and that's those folks over there in Stony Creek. Now, so we talked about the fundraiser at the Juggling Gypsy. And we talked about the Cape Fear Parrots up in Porter's Neck. We talked about over in Leland the Shuckin' Shack, and that's pretty good that they're giving half of all sales that will go there. That's pretty cool. There is also, since it's October, haunted houses, haunted trails are all starting. So the first one that I see is starting tomorrow night, which is Friday, and then Saturday, which is October the 6th. From 7:30 until 12 a.m. It is up in north of Burgal in Watha.
What the?
Are you sure? I thought it was Watha.
Yes.
It's W-A-T-H-A. Watha.
What the?
And so the zip code is 28478. The admission is $15. The Dreaded Swamp Haunted Trail at Green Chapel Farms in Watha is recommended for ages 16 and older. No cell phones, cameras, flashlights, lighting devices permitted. A no-fault liability waiver must be signed by every guest. Please note that there is a kids trail and it goes from 6 to 7:30. So if you are afraid of children, go after 7:30. That's how I read that.
That's right.
Yeah, so that you can go to their website. If you just Google Dread Swamp, like DREAD, like dreadlocks, but Dread Swamp Haunted Trail, you can find that there and get the information.
I dare say you might want to wear some bug spray because it sounds like it might be near some water.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of mosquitoes out.
Well, you know, let's talk about that for a minute. We really didn't have a news article. I want to talk about the Island Gazette here, which is on the island of Pleasure Island, they call it. And I love this newspaper, first of all, and it's a family-owned newspaper. They've been here since 1978. So we're going to try and get our news events, our news happenings from their newspaper every single week. You know, their managing editor, Sean McKee, was very active during Florence, and that's how I saw him. But I've always been a fan of this newspaper. And, you know, so they have a free online site that you can go to. And we talked in the past about there's other news companies here that charge you for the information. They do not. And so I think that they're really good people. I've asked Sean to do an interview, and we couldn't get together last week because I had to take someone to the hospital. But trying to coordinate this week. And so one of the things that they talked about was there's an article in here about the mosquitoes. And it says that the county continues spraying for mosquitoes falling in Florence. So I'm going to tell you, you know, where I live on a low lot, like I just said, and their water accumulates in my yard, and it drains off eventually. But I also live, you know, right on the beach, and then on the backside over here is the river. And there were a ton of mosquitoes, actually before Florence, after Florence, probably during Florence. But after they sprayed here, I was out the other night, and I didn't get bit at all.
Oh, wow. I've seen the trucks in my neighborhood a couple times, but they're still bad.
Well, when I see those trucks, I run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think about the fog, and I don't know what they're spraying, and I hope that it's not like Agent Orange or whatever. But I will tell you that those trucks work.
Whatever it is, they're doing the plains over Brunswick County.
So yeah, and Brunswick I think has, you know, more water than New Hanover, but and it's lower. So I'm glad that they do, but I don't know. I'm not giving advice on it, but I'm telling you, when I see those trucks, I run inside.
Yeah, me too.
And I hold my breath for about 45 seconds.
I got behind one the other morning on the way to work, and I had to turn.
Spraying?
When he saw me getting close, he turned it off.
Oh, you were tailgating? Y'all you was late. Yeah. You were running late to work, weren't you?
Huh?
You were running late to work.
No. He saw there was a car coming up behind him and turned off the spray. So I didn't.
Yeah,
but I
flashing
still
its lights,
turned my air off
honking
for a while because I was scared it would filter through.
Yeah, man. I would be too. Absolutely. I am scared to death of those things. So, but I'll tell you, they daggone sure worked.
That's good because we need it.
So
suckers will speak.
Yeah. And so the Island Gazette, their website's islandgazette.net, and they are right here in Carolina Beach, and been in business since 1978. And I met Roger and Sean there, and they are super nice folks. And Sean really did a great job of keeping people in the loop on what happened during Florence, and I really appreciated what he was doing. And I don't even know if that's was his intentions was to keep you in the loop, but he was just out and he's very active. And so I added him on Facebook, and I see that he's, you know, a coach at the high school, I think running, maybe Ashland High School running club or something. And he's a dad. He's the managing editor of the newspaper. a coach, a husband, and
Right.
and he's just very, very active, and he does a great job of people showing people what's going on social media with the news there. So if you're not friends with Sean McKee, give him a follow on social media and check out the Island Gazette. I just walked to pick up this newspaper, and it was 50 cents. And for, I think, $30, if you live on the island, you get the whole month.
Right.
So,
Huh.
yeah. So support the Island Gazette newspaper. They're great people. So that's the news. And I told you that I'm hoping to hear back from Sean because I want to talk to him. I want to talk to him not just about the newspaper, but about Florence as well. And this week, I had a chance to sit down with Jeannie Schaefer from La Tella Gelato.
Oh.
Have you ever had gelato?
Uh-huh. I actually have tried that from there.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. When I was on the boardwalk before last summer.
Oh. Yeah, this is their second summer. And that was really cool. I'm glad I went there. So I got some gelato there and when Tootie was here, maybe in June or maybe the 1st of July. And I didn't, maybe because I was just distracted with her, that I didn't realize how much creamier and flavorful it was. But that interview is coming up in the coming weeks. And then I also have an interview coming up with Jennifer Boyd, who is with Blue Coast Realty, and she is also a real estate instructor at Southern Choice Real Estate Academy. And she is one of my best friends. We have been in the same mentoring group that we all started back when we all first got into the business. So I'm excited about that. This coming Tuesday, I'm going to meet with Ben Shaw. He is the owner of Happy Hour Vitamins. And I have known Ben since probably 2007, 8-ish. And he is he's really done a lot to help out the restaurant and bar community in the downtown area. And he's got this vitamin company that is just kicking butt. So I'm going to be happy to go and talk with him.
He's local.
He is a local guy. He asked me for my phone number on Facebook today, and I sent it to him. And he called me, and I just saw a Dayton number, and it's like if I see like a number that is not a 910 area code, I immediately think telemarketer or somebody trying to sell me something. But I just had to think, do I know him from Dayton? And I just went through like 3 or 4 people that I knew, and I was like, okay, so I do know some folks from Dayton. Picked it up, and I said, hey, Ben, and it was him. So
That's fun.
I'm really excited to talk to that guy. So in terms of other open houses, did I say open houses? In terms of other haunted houses.
Mr. Real Estate gonna do an open house.
Yeah. An open haunted house.
Come on in, little boy.
Man, I tell you, I can tell you some real estate stories that sound like haunted houses. That's for sure. And so haunted houses. So the only one that I saw was the one that we mentioned up in Watha.
Didn't you send me something for one in Nakina?
Yeah, Nakina. There's another one, and that one is, I can't remember what it's called.
It's the same people that did Panic Attack, right?
I think they may or they may not be, but they are piggybacking on it. So I don't know why they would go way out to Nakina, which is about an hour away. I mean, Panic Attack was pretty kick butt.
It is a long way.
Yeah. No, it really is. I mean, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere between here.
That's why when it said that's where it was, I was like, what?
Yeah. and so if I go out there and it's horrible, somebody's getting cussed out.
Like there might be a haunted house.
Yeah, because I'll be going psycho.
I drove 2 hours.
Yeah, well, here's what my friends and I used to do for haunted houses. We go to everyone in town in a night that we can. If not, we do it the next night. And so that's always our plan. I'm going to tell a story of of one that we went to a year or so ago. So my buddy Damon's birthday is October the 27th. And every year around his birthday time, we go to haunted houses. So a few years ago, we went to the Lyceum Haunted House. It's done by the New Hanover High School. I think it's the drama club.
I think so.
And I always love going to their haunted houses. They are so much fun. They're very enthusiastic actors. But I mean, they've done like some really, really neat things that I wouldn't expect like a high school to
Right.
do. So here, I'll just tell you before I get back to Damon's story. So have you went to any of their haunted houses?
It's been a while, but I've been to some in the past.
So they did one in like at the corner of New Center and Market. There was a little bank there, and they did one in that building. And I don't know if it's vacant still. It was vacant then, and it was. So this is probably 8 years ago, maybe. This might be 2010. So we went to that one, and you always hold a rope, and this was like it's supposed to be like in Egypt, and they would take you in like these rooms, but the rooms were so tiny that you would go in and see whatever was supposed to scare you, the first person would, or the first two people, but the persons in the back wouldn't get to see it because the rope would turn around and everyone would be coming out before you even got in to see what it was. And on the night that we went, the actor would he'd be like, oh look, it's what's on the wall? It looks like a hieroglyph of a spider. That's got to represent something, And so Damon and I, we still make the jokes. And look, I'm not cracking on haunted house, Lyceum group because they're actually my favorite every year. But just sometimes when you go to a haunted house, there's things that are funny that are not necessarily scary, and they haven't done it in a building like that since then. But anyway, so. This night it was Damon's birthday, and this was 3-4 years ago, and it was in one of the buildings down by the port, and so like at Shipyard and Carolina Beach Road in that area, and it was one of those old World War II buildings, and so we go in, and I can't remember the theme, but we're all holding the rope thing, and it's me and Damon and a couple friends of Damon's in the front. And so our guide says, hey, you guys hear that? And we can hear people in the background going, happy birthday to you. And it was creepy. Like they were singing, and it really... because some of the walls aren't really walls. They're sheets or they're, trash bags or something. And so it just echoed throughout this whole floor that we were on in like so many different directions. And Dan was like, oh, wow. So we got to the end of it. He's like, wow, that was pretty cool. It kind of sounded like they were like singing the happy birthday song. Well, and the people had went through the whole thing. Happy birthday, dear Damon. And we were like, dude. And Michael and I were just looking at each other like, oh my gosh, do you not get it? And he couldn't believe that was our idea to have them sing that. And like, while I distracted Damon, Michael went and talked to them and had them sing it. And it was
cool.
Absolutely awesome. And then, so it was on the same night in the same building with Damon. And I always, when I have people that are behind me, when you go through the things that's got the bodies, and they're like hanging, it's supposed to be like bodies in trash bags hanging from the ceiling, and sometimes they sell them or they like have whatever mechanical thing in it where it looks like that someone's like trying to do like sit-ups, and it's like, who does sit-ups upside down? No, I'm just kidding, because I know those CrossFit people do. But so I always push that body this way, and I do it discreetly with the person behind me can't see, and then it comes and it hits them and it scares them. That's like, my thing that I do. Well, so there was this one that looked like a girl hanging, and we were going through this hallway, so I pushed the girl that's hanging, and I said, oh my gosh, she's real. And so this high school girl that's there, supposed to be hung, she says, or is it hanged? But I think the guys are hung, the girls are hanged. And so either way, I push her and I say, oh my gosh, she's real. And she says, yeah, of course I'm real, you dumbass. So now every year when I go to that haunted house, I tell like whatever parent is there, I say, oh, well, let me tell you what happened in one of your haunted houses once. One of your little high school kids called me a dumbass.
Yeah.
So those are my haunted house stories. So there's I know there's going to be a phobia trail over on Shipyard. That is, I saw signs up at Cardinal Lanes. I think
they had one there last year, but
and look, I'm gonna keep it real. It wasn't real good.
yeah,
It was pretty lame. It ended way before I thought that it should. Yeah. And I mean, there was a couple like little things that could have been cute, but it was just up weird. Trails are weird, and so I hope that one's better this year. And let's see, where was the other one? I haven't heard from the one that is up in Burgaw in that cornfield. They usually have a corn maze, and then they have a building too. So I'll have to check on that. I used to know the guy that used to do that. So I'll check on that and get back. But listen, our listeners, if you are a fan of the haunted houses and you know folks and you know where they are, hey, share them on our page. Any events that you want to share, we'll happily share it to all of our friends and try and get the word out and help out as much as possible. So next week you're going to read a story.
Yes.
And possibly tell a haunted house story or a paranormal story from your own life. And then I have one that I could tell that has to do with Wilmington. That's true. That actually happened to me. And so we're going to do that every podcast in Shocktober.
Shocktober.
Cool. So I think that about wraps it up. So we mentioned our events already that are coming up, and that's mostly things that are happening tomorrow. The Seafood Blues and Jazz Festival is postponed to April.
Riverfest was postponed to November.
Do you know the history of Riverfest? No, me neither.
Have to check it out.
Yeah, but isn't there another festival that happens downtown?
Azalea
Festival.
That's in the spring. Riverfest is fall.
Oh, gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Because actually, my town does too now. We do the Autumn Leaves Festival. We do Mayberry Days.
November 4th and 5th is the Spot Festival.
Okay, and that is in Hampstead.
Have to check that out.
Hey, what do you call your hometown?
The Stead.
What?
Well, that's not really my hometown. You talking about Leland?
No. If someone says, "Hey, where are you from?" What do you say?
I usually
say
Wilmington if it's not somebody around here, because they know where that is more than
Okay.
Hampstead
Let's try this. Shane May, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Lower L.A.
Okay. All right.
Running the dirt roads.
Yeah. The other day, our friend, Fiery Red, we were on the phone, and I kept hearing like this sound that was like this. And I said, "Daggone girl, what are you doing? You riding a horse to work or what?" And she says, "No, I'm on a dirt road." And I said, "In that Mustang, and you like making that noise like that?" And she says, "Yes." I said, "Oh, since you're in a Mustang, I guess you are, kind of like riding a horse." But yeah, she's talking about dirt road.
Jumping the ruts.
Yeah. She's like, "Oh my God, it's horrible after Florence, But I grew up on a dirt road, and I know that if you gunned it, then it would make it 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And her that she guns it. So
she was in a hurry.
Yeah, and I mean it was hilarious, like to hear, because I could tell she was in her car, and then it just was. But my joke was to sound like a horse like trotting down the road. So cool. Is there anything else that you got?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything. Oh, want to thank our sponsors, Mermaid Kisses Photography. Your realty?
Oh, you don't give your phone number and stuff?
Sure.
867-5309?
Yeah. Call it Jenny. Just Facebook. Mermaids Kisses Photography 910-231-8609. Do any kind of photos. Outdoor sessions have been a little limited lately because of the surroundings, but we can work around them. There's places that are cleaned up. So
Yeah.
if you want outdoors, indoors, parties, call us.
Yeah. And Frankie Secrets Real Estate, you can find me at anchoredrealestate.com. We are the home of the 1% listing fee, and we save people an average of $4,000 when we help you sell your home. We do what the other folks do, except we just have a business model that is in 2018, and some of the other folks are still living in 1958. So, we can save you money, get your house sold, and have some fun. And the other day, one of my clients said to me, she said, "Well, when we close this deal on this house, I'm going to give you not just your cup, but I'm going to give you some more too." And I said, you don't have to do that. What I get is what I get, and I'm totally fine with it. But she realized the value of how hard that I work for her. And that's how I want to be. I'm not trying to be the dude with the most sales. I'm trying to be the guy with the best service. So you start your deal with me, you end your deal with me. No closing coordinators, no buyer agents, no listing agents. Is all me. So look us up. Our website's got some good information on our business. And people always say, "Hey, how do you list it so cheap?" And it's just because of our business model. We don't waste money on brick and mortar stores, and we don't waste our money. We, put it in the right place and leave, 2% at least with our clients instead of, charging an arm and a leg. So that's how we do it.
That sounds awesome.
Good. Well, thank you all for listening. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, the Apple iTunes. I think I said that one already. You can find us at 910pod.com. You can subscribe and sign up there and get an alert every time there's a new podcast. But we release a new podcast every Friday. We record typically on Thursdays. On our social media, you can follow us, and you'll see some things that we are out and about doing. So that's our social media, 910pod. That's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's Twitter, that's all of that. You can go and support Mermaid Kisses Photography, Frankie Secrets Real Estate. Hey, and if you got questions about real estate, call me up. I'm happy to talk about it. And Shani May's got an awesome photography company, and she does a whole bunch of things. She's got a lot of great ideas. And if you have any ideas that you just want to run by her and see whether you think it would work or she thinks it would work, then that would be awesome too. But stay in touch with us.
Yes, come meet with us. Sit down somewhere, have a drink, eat like we like to eat. I know y'all like to eat. Come eat, and maybe we can do an interview and get you on here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have some more folks on here, and that was actually my other thought was, maybe that top 5 episode we'll have a third person join us.
Mm-hmm.
So. Anyway, you guys stay safe, have some fun.
Enjoy your weekend. And be somebody else while you can.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Make sure to tell your friends to check out our webpage at 910pod.com and to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. If you take a minute and leave us a 5-star review, that really helps other people find us. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the show, email us at 910pod@gmail.com. And make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 910pod. Stay safe. We'll see you next week right here on What's Up, Wilmington, the 910 Podcast.